hope I say this right. Dan Galubovich?
On the money. That's perfect.
All right. Dan, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for spending the time to come on here with me and Jordan. So everybody knows you're on the opposite side of Southern California right now, of the world, I should say, because me and Jordan are in SoCal. Where are you at right now?
I am in Montpellier, France. I am a long, long ways away.
Yo, my goodness. Now this is great. We've been actually trying to get you on here for a while. You and I have been talking. I want to say it's probably been 2 years of chatting every once in a while.
It's been a little while, yeah. It's been a bit.
So yeah, I'm glad we got the virtual setup. You finally get to see and meet Jordan. The great part about this is, so people know, Dan has a brother named Doug Galubovich. I hope I said it right. Doug is actually a good friend of mine, Dan, and so everybody else here knows that's listening. And I met Doug skydiving. He was flying the plane. This young, 19-year-old kid. Dude, it was trippy. I was kind of like, so who's the pilot? And this, tall, good-looking dude comes walking out. I was like, he looks like he's, 19 years old, dude.
He's like, I am, dude. You were good.
Yeah, total surfer vibes, dude. Okay. Bro, this and that. What was really cool.
Trust me, dude, I got this.
Yeah, he was super cool. But he was like a total believer in Christ, which is super cool because at that time I had totally walked away, and he was one of the first influences I think was that seed that brought me back. It took me a couple years, but it was just so cool to see someone like him working hard, young, flying, going after his dreams. Being a believer, and it was in Vegas is where I met him. I was learning to skydive, which is crazy. So yeah, a little background story here so people know there's a little history with your family, which is pretty rad, dude. I appreciate your brother a lot, man. Just so you know, you got a good dude.
He's a very good dude. Yeah, he's I can't even put words to it, but he's come a long way himself, and I'm super proud of him as well.
Yeah, no, he's cool, man. So we're gonna get both you guys back on here one day. We can get some real dirt to the family.
Would love to. You'll get the brotherly dynamic, I'm sure.
Oh, I love it, man.
That'd be awesome.
Well, dude, Dan, we're here to talk about you today, which is amazing. So first off, a huge congratulations from myself and Jordan because you qualified and are now in the Olympics, right?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, that's why I'm in France at the moment. We're just out here getting prepared and headed into the athlete village in 10 days.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. Jordan, if you want to ask him, go for it, dude.
Oh yeah, no, I just a couple just preliminary questions as far as what are you competing in, and just kind of the build up on how you got started essentially. Did you start as a young kid? Was it a late kind of high school decision where you're like, man, I'm pretty good at this, or, how did that go about?
Yeah, dude. So this is a very, very long story. So please, if at any point, cut me off.
You're good.
Not at all.
So you set up this question perfectly, starting to talk about my brother, because young surfer kid, flying the plane, cruising around the world, skydiving, doing every crazy thing that he can put his hands to. Yeah. That's very much how we grew up. We played sports when we were kids, all the traditional stuff, soccer, baseball, basketball. As soon as we kind of got into those early teen years, it was sick, motocross, BMX. My brother was surf, skate, snowboard, everything, any bit of adrenaline we just kind of chased. Along with that, Dad had certain rules, keep us out of trouble. He wanted to keep us in team sport. So for me, the only thing that I hadn't played was track and field. I did a bit of running when I was a kid, just fun runs and things. And Dad basically, I was like, I don't want to run, man. That just sounds exhausting.
I'm right there with you, dude.
So 100%. I was 15. I was 15 at the time. I was like, I don't want to run. And Dad pretty much grabbed me by the arm, hand delivered me to my high school coach, and said, here, he can run and he's tall. Put him where you need him.
Wow.
Nice.
So I started as a high jumper. And I was this is kind of fun. You get to jump over stuff. It was what it was. I picked it up pretty quickly. My senior year, I started getting good in my junior year of high school. My senior year, I was like, high jump's pretty cool. I like that whole adrenaline thing. Let me go try the pole vault, right? Now that's the one where we, instead of jumping like 6 feet in the air, we grab a big stick and try and throw ourselves like 15 feet in the air, or more. I was like, all right, if I'm going to do something, I want to do something like a little bit more hectic. So, I had a really fantastic jumps coach and a really fantastic pole vault coach from the get-go. They saw potential in me right away, and they saw how I just kind of, I think probably because I played so many different sports growing up, I just had a feel, and I could pick things up quickly.
Yeah.
And they put me in the pole vault. And as soon as I picked that up, my coach was actually a decathlete himself. So to answer your first question, I am a decathlete. I compete in the decathlon and will be competing in the decathlon in the Olympics. For those,
let's go, baby.
Man, that's so sick.
It is. It's a sport that is just a big puzzle. And for those that don't know, it's 10 track and field events over the course of 2 days.
10 track and field events over 2. Isn't there limits to how many you can do in one day, right?
Yeah, so it's the same schedule in terms of like order of the events every decathlon, just as like a standardization.
Okay.
So basically the order goes 100-meter long jump, shot put, high jump, 400-meter, and that's day one. Come out for day 2, 110-meter hurdles, discus, pole vault, javelin, and the 1,500-meter. Finishing with finishing all of that with essentially a 1 mile run as fast as you can go that one's a bear. A lot of times it turns into more of a limp home, but it's a good time.
Dude, Dan, that's a lot to qualify for.
So the thing is though, is it's only one event. So I go 10 times over. I compete in 10 different things, but all of that is only one event at the Olympics. So it's kind of like so like there are specialist long jumpers and hurdlers and things. We just kind of are like the well-rounded kind of ones that just dabble in a bit of everything, and it's got its own strategy. So it's a strange comparison, but think Bruce Jenner, right? Back in the 70s, 80s. I mean,
dude was legit.
He was
the man.
Was a monster. And so that's kind of what we're trying to put together, is just balancing the strategy for how to be a good 100-meter sprinter, as well as a shot put thrower, as well as a 1,500-meter runner.
So just to clarify with that, each of these, like, so for shot put, let's say for example, they have an individual event of shot put isolated. So that would be like you're saying, like the specialists come in, and then the decathletes, you're competing in all of these events, but you take the well-rounded score of all of them. So, and then that's what your combination total for the win, like at the end, is, right?
Essentially, yeah. Key point being though is we're not actually competing with the open and like the specialist guys. We compete in a group of 24 other decathletes.
Wow. Okay, so the decathletes you're only in the decathlete group, whereas the specialists are I don't want to say isolated, but the single event competitors are only in those ones, and that's it.
Yeah, so the shot putters only train for the shot put. That's their entire career. That's and where we've got essentially 10 different disciplines that all wrap up into one.
So let me ask you a quick question. When you're walking around, are like the decathletes like I feel like you guys are like the cool guys, where it's like you're like, I'm good at all this, just so you guys know.
I think that's a very important distinction to make here. Is decathletes are the ones where we get labeled as a bit psycho. It's like someone that wants to go run a marathon or run an Ironman. Like, I don't want to go run a marathon. That's so much running, right?
Right.
But there's that like, I'll put it out there, that David Goggins kind of thing. Like, I'm gonna beat this thing. I'm here to defeat the challenge itself. I'm here to push myself to that limit. And every sport kind of has that. It's just, at least my personal opinion, being in it for so long, that's kind of what made me fell in love with it. It was like trying to herd a bunch of cats, the most challenging thing, where you've got challenges coming at you from every direction. So I wouldn't say the distinction here is we're good at everything, but we're not great at anything, right? So like, if you put us, there's a couple of decathletes in the world that can compete in maybe one individual event with a specialist, but it's very rare. And typically there's quite a significant difference in performance when you get someone that solely trains for one event versus one of us.
But I think in like the measure,
no, you're good. Go ahead.
Sorry. I think with like the measure of like athleticism, right? I think a decathlete, like you check all the boxes, right? Running, throwing, agility, all of these things. You know, I don't. To me, I always think that the decathletes are like, it's fun to watch. You know, because they're just like, man, like, you know, it's like when you watch this. I mean, obviously, like when you have a solo event person, that they're the specialist is what they're deemed, right? Like, it's amazing to see someone operate at such high level and efficiency. But to have like, to be, you know, obviously you're not saying you're the best in the world at one thing, but you're one of the greatest like athletes because you can do all these things at such a high level. Like, there's a lot of admiration, I think, in that. And what a cool thing. You've come a long way from not wanting to run when you're 15 to be a decathlete at the Olympics.
100%, dude.
Yeah, thanks, Dad.
No kidding. Thank you, Dad.
Yeah, well, I mean, dude, you both hit on some good points, but you said something, Dan, like David Goggins, and I've always believed this because we've watched the Olympics, right? All of us growing up. I mean, even X Games, that was like, oh, that was the best, right? The best of the best when it comes to skateboarding. And remember Street Luge? I love Street Luge.
Absolutely.
But, dude,
of course you do.
Oh yeah, I love Street Luge. Street Luge is amazing, dude.
Yeah, that's sick. Yeah.
But to get to your level with the other elite athletes that you're with, you kind of have to have a mindset like David Goggins a little bit, dude, because the discipline, I'm talking discipline in so many different areas, not just for you, what you're competing, but your sleep, your diet, how much you work out, how much you rest. I mean, I know it's probably a lot that you are disciplined in, that you do, and I don't think people understand that. It's not like all of you who get to the Olympics, this just happened over a couple of years. Like, you've been training for this ever since you started, I would imagine, right? Back in high school?
Yeah, and I started particularly late. I normally signify the beginning of at least where it'll give you a bit of an insight to where my mindset goes is I consider the beginning of my professional career that led me to this point when I turned 18, because when I turned 18, that was my senior year of high school when I started the decathlon and when I fell in love with it, right? And when I did my first one, it was like, this is wicked. I got some attention for it. That led me into university. University made me fall in love with it more because it was my first exposure into like a regimented program where you can see these like definite improvements. Like, you go see progression 1 week to the next of how much you're lifting in the gym, how fast you're running on the track, how far you're throwing or jumping or any of this. And it's like, it was that pursuit of progression and the self-improvement, I guess, that was really just fascinating to me. The discipline side comes with it, and that's a culmination of personality, but it's also just practice. Like, if you find something that you love, no matter what it is, and or at least something that you want, that you really want, you're going to chase after it, and the discipline will come. That's like, it is very much a practice skill. It becomes your lifestyle. So it gets easier. You're not having to think and change, and you just kind of react, and it becomes who you are. And that's kind of what this has become for me. It's
I'm sure
it's very intertwined with my entire persona, I guess now.
Yeah. How old are you?
I'm 30. I'll be 31 at the end of the year.
Wow, look at my guy, dude. And I'm sure getting to the Olympics has been a dream, right? This is what you've wanted.
100%. I wanted it even before I wanted it. My mom tells me a story all the time, and like, especially like, look, everyone has bad days, and when I speak to my family, they go back to like this image that they have of me as a kid, where we were all watching the Olympics together. I was tiny. I couldn't even speak barely yet. And I was like jumping up and down in front of the TV, like saying, Yimpics, just like so excited about watching athletes on the TV. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. So going through like every single sport that I played when I was younger, it was always something in my head. It's like, I wanted to do this. I wanted to be a professional athlete. Yeah. It just came really late in my career to kind of isolate what sport that was.
That's all right. But dude, I'm big on timing. I think I'm a firm believer that nothing is by accident or chance. You know, I do think timing is everything. And especially, we know this working as firefighters, right? All the preparation and training and time, it's like, it's for those calls that we call low frequency, high risk. We don't get them often, but when they do, it's go time. Like, you have to be 100%. You can't miss a thing, because I was watching that new show on Netflix. I'm sure you saw it, but the sprinters. It's a documentary on the Olympic sprinters, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't think about it, but one of them said something like it's like getting the world title and then getting to the Olympics. They train their whole life for like 9 seconds. Yeah. 9 or 10 seconds. I was just like, whoa. When it hit me, I'm like, dude, that's insane. That's so much time and mental toughness and physical toughness and preparation. And like, it all comes down to 9 seconds. You can't be before the start. You don't want to be too late. I mean, dude, that's some high pressure. Like, what you're doing is a lot of pressure. I've never wanted to go to the Olympics. I was like, dude, I'll just watch. Like, I'm good, man. I'll be surfing and skydiving, you know?
I think that's what adds to the like the allure of it. You know, like you said, like you're kind of chasing that adrenaline a little bit, you know? So when it's that game time feeling, that this is your moment feeling, like I feel like that, you know, I've never competed at a high level in that way. So like, as far as any sports or anything, I guess like Tim, I could equate to like maybe our jobs kind of has a little similarity in that, to where we train for so long for an incident or a situation that when it does hit, I mean, that's kind of like our thrill-seeking side of it, you know, which is kind of not to make it a weird thing, but like, you know what I mean? Like that finding that, you know, that feeling, what motivates you. And I could only imagine, you know, on such a high level, like such as like the Olympics. I mean, this is it, man. Like this is the pinnacle of it. And, you know, like you said, like 30 years old, dude, like the preparation, the training, the diets, you know, the regimens that you do, like, you're prime time right now. This is it, you know, and what amazing opportunity this is. And actually, I want to ask you, what university did you go
to? So I spent 4 years at UC San Diego, studied economics and finance, and then I had a little mishap academically my first quarter there, we'll say.
Yeah, dog. Yeah, dog.
Yeah.
You mean a young guy in San Diego? No.
more like a guy falling in love with a sport that chose to run instead of going to class.
Respect that. I respect it.
Absolutely.
Little column A, column B. Yeah, and then because of that, I was ineligible to compete, so I had a redshirt year, and I went to Duke for a year to get a master's in management. And so I competed for Duke for a year.
Dude, you got a master's degree?
Yeah.
Dude, educated, jawline of a Greek god.
Yeah, I was like, this guy,
you know,
dude.
like what else don't you do?
Tim, take away the tan.
Yeah,
you're not allowed can. Be coming on here. I'm one of the best athletes
that's awesome.
in the world.
I say it because Jordan got his bachelor's a couple years ago. I got mine like 3 or 4. Doing it after we actually were in a career, and I'm working on my master's right now. I have 3 classes left, and Dan, I can't tell you how often daily I want to quit. I'm so over writing. I don't want to write another. I probably have, I don't know, 12 more papers to write between the 3 classes, right? And then do my test and defense, all that stuff at the end. And I did 14 classes, bro. And that's why to anyone who's got like graduate degrees, God bless you. You're awesome. You're amazing, because it's terrible. It's a terrible thing to go through. So what is your master's in?
So I went to the Fuqua School of Business, the business school out there, and I got a master's in management. It was a 1-year, essentially, business degree.
What don't you do? You know what I'm saying, dog?
I don't skydive.
Stop. Once you're done with the Olympics, dude, we're gonna Jordan.
I've been on one tandem flight.
One tandem. Okay.
I've been on one tandem, and it was wicked. It was wicked. I think if I'm going back to action stuff and adrenaline stuff, I think I might spend the majority of my time on the ground though.
I got you. Yeah, it's so I've gotten married recently, and I have my daughter's born here in October, and
congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. And I love skydiving, dude. Paraglide, I do the same with your brother, right? I do all the paragliding and skydiving, but now I'm like, maybe I need to slow down a little bit. Like, I want to see my grandkids one day, you know?
You think, dude? I mean, you got to do what you got to do to make yourself happy. I get that. Yeah, I'm telling you, as soon as your baby's here, dude, you'll be like, little different.
Might need to stop this. Oh, Dan, real quick, is there any way you can bring your camera angle down so we get your head, your body and head in the shot? There you go.
Yeah, let me do this.
Just so we can try and look even. Yeah.
He just low key wants you to flex on camera. That's all.
I'm just
if
you're single, this is gonna be really good for you, bro.
I am not. I am actually married, and I have a young daughter as well.
Stop it!
Oh, no way! Awesome.
Look at my
there
guy,
you go. How's
dude.
that?
Okay. Well, sorry.
Okay, this is great.
He's not available.
We're doing a podcast, and we got all girl dads on here. I want to keep talking about what you're doing. Trust me, but bro, man, I've been stressed. I've been telling Jordan, I'm like, how do I have a daughter? Like, I know how I was before I came back to Lord and how I was in my 20s. Why did I not have a son first? What's going on here, man? I'm stressed.
Hey, it's just day by day, dude. That's all. And you enjoy it. And I have sons and I have a daughter, and I can assure you the daughter is probably going to be super chill, and it changes your world.
Oh my goodness, dude.
Yeah.
How old are yours, Jordan?
I have 2 sons that are 4 and 2 years old, and my daughter is just over 6 months old.
Beautiful.
Oh, congratulations!
Thanks. Yeah. So we're in the early phases of all of them right now. So
you are truly in the thick of it. Yeah.
that's why we're filming this from my garage.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd be sitting by Tim.
Well, I mean, this brings up is something really good too. I mean, Dan, to pursue your dreams in the Olympics and to be married with a daughter, I'm sure that's just a lot to have on your plate. I mean, how do you manage that, right? Because Jordan and I talk about this all the time. We see it in our careers as firefighters, where a lot of our fellow brothers and sisters will work the extra hours, right? Work the extra overtime because you want to provide. You're trying to buy homes and fix things up and pay for school. But what you're really doing is you're giving up of your time that you can have with your family, right? And that's the one thing I've always talked to people like, what we're all fighting for is time. That's the whole reason of being rich, is because it gives you time. It's not the things, it's the time. You don't have to work, you can be home, you know? And so we're trying to always find that even balance of how do I work enough to provide, but also spend enough time at home to be with my kids and my wife. Because at the end of the day, right, Dan, like all my degrees or whatever, or my promotions at work and the things that I do, you know, I can't take it with me when I die. You know, and these are the things I've always thought about so many times, dude. And I just said it in the last podcast.
Yeah.
And I was telling someone the other day, right? They did a study. I think it was like 100 or 200 mortuaries, right? And they talked to the funeral directors, right? And they asked them, how long is the average eulogy? And I looked at it again. It's 8 to 12 minutes. So your life and everything you've done is summed up in 8 to 12 minutes. That hit me, dude. I was just like, wait a minute. What? Where am I putting my time?
It's
wild,
that's
right?
heavy. Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, it's wild. So that's why I always ask, like, somebody at, you know, in your shoes and your caliber and what you're doing, and you're living in Australia, right?
Yeah, living in Brisbane currently.
Yeah. So I mean, dude, you got a lot going on, and you're succeeding and you're doing well. How do you manage that? So how does an Olympic athlete manage their home life with all the training that they have to do?
Well, I'll add another piece to the puzzle here as well. I also work full time for Shell Energy, so I work a 9 to 5.
What?
All right, I have no more excuses.
But
dude, you're busy.
That being said, I'm a very busy man. I started working for Shell in 2022,
wow.
and I've been to 2 World Championships, Commonwealth Games, and now an Olympic Games in that time. It's been consistent, like 70, 80-hour weeks, but my daughter's only 4 weeks old as of Friday. So I can't say I've been managing 4 months old as of Friday.
Like 4 weeks, my bro.
As of, no. 4 months old as of Friday. I was going to say as of last week.
Okay.
So I got my words confused, but she's 4 months old now. She is a little sweetheart. And this is something that's been like, everything that you just said kind of really resonated, because I've spent, by the time I see her again, I will have spent half of her life away from her, which in itself kills me. And it's like, it just everything that you're talking about now, balancing family and balancing your own goals and a career. And I think one of the best things the best ways that I think of it anyways, is to get scientific, fourth dimensionally, right? Everyone talks about time. There's a time and there's a place for everything. And I'm kind of in pursuing this dream and pursuing this success now. I basically am thinking about putting myself into a bit of debt now to then accelerate and try and benefit my future later, because that's one thing that is more important to me than anything is family. And especially since my daughter was born, it's like, it's a completely different world. Like it's changed my brain chemistry to where it's like the way I think about everything is completely and entirely different. So it's something that in itself is going to be a massive challenge for me. I know, coming off of the Olympics and trying to figure out how to balance all of that in itself. I don't know if I answered your question, but
no, you
that
totally
was my
did.
little spiel.
No, I totally did.
I think that's good. I think that's really good insight. You know, I mean, especially, you know, because you're in a unique position, being like a professional athlete, and also carrying a job with care and having a family and a new one at that. So you're kind of in this like, you're constantly in a field of like flexibility, essentially, right? Because you're trying to learn and be dynamic and kind of go with the flow and find that groove of things. And to add to what you're saying, Tim, I think, obviously, I think there's no real answer to those questions of how do you balance it, right? There's no book, there's no blueprint, there's no because what works for you may not work for me, that works for Dan, or vice versa, or whatever, right? So
Yeah.
you can only do your best. And I think being in that mindset either way is going to put you ahead of the game, just because you're trying, you're being cognizant, you're working in that environment. I think you're always going to feel, I say that personally because, I work a lot, and with our job, I'm gone away, from days at a time sometimes. And I always have that feeling in the back of my head. And, so 4 months, you're in the early stages of it too. And I'm only 4 years into it. So it's like my kids are still young too, but there isn't a day when I go to work where I'm just like, man, I would absolutely rather be at home with my family. And, but there also is a side that, you're the father, you're providing, you're doing that with also pursuing your personal interests as far as wanting to be a successful athlete and, kind of use something with these gifts that are given to you, with the hard work and determination and everything. And I think it's very commendable, but I think to going back to what you said, Tim, I don't think there's a right or wrong way to do it. I think there's just the way that you're going to try to do it. And as long as you have other people's interests at heart, that will kind of dictate the path choices and the amount of time. And plus, in a weird way, it does make it exciting when you do get to spend time with your family when you're gone for a little bit, because you're excited to be there. You're not in the day in, day out every single day, so there are some plus, stuff to it. But at the end of the day, I think that, we're all sitting here talking about this. I think it's good to show, people that this is the how you do it part, right? You still stay focused, you still set goals and achieve those goals and push forward while maintaining the work life balance. And it's like, in a weird way, it's like you're doing it already. You are doing what you should be doing. It's just what's funny because when you get asked that question, because someone's at, how do you do it? I'm like, I don't know. I just show up.
Figure it out, huh?
You figure it out on the fly, and which I feel like has
Yeah.
kind of been a lot of my life, just in general. But it tends to work, and as long as you have those others, what you said is most important to you. If that's family, then you're always going to have that on your mind. And I'm sure there's things that helps push you to be better, athlete, to be a better worker, to kind of keep pushing those thresholds. Because I think one thing that, a lot of, because I would consider we're probably all a little bit type A personalities, right? It's that drive, and that's that Goggins thing that when you wake up and you're like, get up, do it again. I don't want to cuss a bunch, but
Who's gonna
don't
carry
be
the
a
boats,
bitch,
baby?
and at the end of the day, it's awesome, and I think that's commendable, and especially someone in your situation, people are going to be looking up to you, and they see that it's achievable. It's like, I can have a family, I can pursue my dreams, I can pursue my goals and achieve them. Because the other half of this is that you keep pushing and you don't get anywhere. Sometimes that can be extraordinarily frustrating. But if you stick to the game plan, you stick to that path, you'll be rewarded in the end. And I think that's awesome and very commendable.
Well, you touched on something a couple times there, both directly and indirectly, that has been a major focus of my past year, both home life, work life, training life, um, and it's the idea of just being dynamic and being adaptable. Like we've worked so hard, and like my personality has always and naturally been just work, 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 work. If there's a session on the books, I'm going to run that session no matter where I tear a hamstring or whether I throw up. I'm just going to keep going. And especially as I get older, just bringing it back to athletics a little bit, but as I get older, as I don't recover as well, as the body gets quicker, bigger, faster, stronger, but also you're pushing closer to that line of injury and this and that, we've tried to bring that back into a constant assessment of, do I need to do this? What's going to be the most bang for the buck here, and how to fit all the pieces together properly. And I love speaking to people that have like good experiences or are at the top of their fields, like you guys yourselves, because it's always the same ideas of this idea of adaptation and like responding to things in the most like equal way possible to get the job done on the whole. Like people I've found that have that success can see the whole picture, the whole battlefield from the bird's eye view. They don't just get locked into this one piece of the puzzle that has to be this done way. They're always adapting and changing their strategies to what suits the immediate kind of environment.
Yeah, absolutely. And
it's so funny because like when you see people who are successful that do well in life, there's people only see when you're on that mountaintop, right? They don't see the work that has gone behind it. The, hours from home, for us volunteering before we get hired, working terrible jobs. I mean, as a kid, I would think, Olympians, all they do is train. They get paid. I know a lot that have full-time jobs, and they're still trying to get in the Olympics and train and do all that. I mean, it's commendable. That's a lot, dude. That takes dedication. It takes grit, determination. But like you said, it's like we have this kind of saying in the fire service where when you start promoting, like Jordan's he's a leader. He's an officer in our fire department, right?
Cool, right.
Yeah, so he has to look at he's gonna when we go to fires, right? He's looking at things from the 20,000-foot perspective, right? Whereas the firefighters that he's leading, they're kind of more at the 1,000-foot perspective because, all right, you're just being told what to do. Go put that fire out. Where he's looking out for safety. Are there civilians stuck inside? How much of the house is involved? Have I got a 360 of this building? Do we have a water supply? Do we have 2 into it? There's so much that you have to see, but you're so right on that. Like when you can start looking at things from a bigger perspective and understand like, hey, the payoff in the years down the road of what I'm trying to get to is worth what I'm going through now. You will all I've noticed I can put myself through anything. I'll suffer. I'll do what I have to do. I'll take the classes. I'll work the late nights. Like I used to run 50, 60-mile runs, right? To get to that point. Oh, bro, they were long. Like this.
Dude.
You're talking like 15 hours of running. But to get to that point. Yeah, it's gnarly, bro. It's gnarly.
Cool, man.
Yeah. Yeah, but I was saying, it was like, dude.
That's wild. Yeah.
I remember training for those for years. I was doing it for years. But it's like, it didn't just happen overnight. It started with, all right, I'm going to start running 3 miles. Okay, after that for a few months, I'm going to bump this up to a half marathon. Did a couple half marathons. I'm going to do a marathon now. Did a couple marathons. All right, I'm going to keep my training because I'm at a pretty high level. I'm going to keep pushing and see how far I can go. And next thing you know, a year later, I'm running my first, ultra marathon, which is wild. So all that to say, all to say is like nothing's handed to any of us, right? Our success, and like it just doesn't happen overnight. You know what I'm saying? And to me, it's I teach at a college, the fire classes, and I always tell them, if you know your why, you'll be able to fight for anything that you're going for. There's a reason that you got to have something to fight for and to live for and what you want for your future family and your goals. Because reality is, right, Dan, we got one shot. I mean, it's straight up. Like, you got one shot. And I tell people, you got 3 solid decades. You got your 20s, your 30s, your 40s. By your 50s, I don't know. Hopefully stuff went okay. Your body's still doing okay. But it's like, if you would have told me I'm going to be 38 years old and I'm having my first daughter, I wouldn't have believed you years ago. I was just doing my own thing, having fun, So it's like, use your time wisely. Where am I putting my time? And that comes back to that whole issue of family, but going after your goals, but also providing work, money. So to see someone like yourself being able to do what you're doing is encouraging. It's rad. It's amazing I even know your brother. It's like, dude, when you hit me up, like, I got to come on. I'm like, hold on, Dan. Let me figure out this virtual thing because I have no idea what I'm doing, but we're going to figure this out, dude.
Yeah.
So it's awesome. Now, I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
You were born in the USA, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So what was your decision-making point to, I don't know if you want to say, hope I'm saying this right, but try out for the Olympics in Australia or go for the Australian team instead of USA? Or even like
so,
what got you over to Australia first, you know? What got you over there?
So that's another long story in itself. But I'll try and expedite it. So I can't speak.
See, what had happened was
what had happened was no. So when my senior year or my last year of NCAA competition, I was competing for Duke, and I had a massive breakout year. Dude, you talk about things for having this is a different tangent, but you talk about things happening for a reason.
Yeah.
I gave myself the goal of I had to score 7,500 points that year in order to pursue this as a career. Like, I gave myself the hard cutoff. The very first competition I did that year, I scored 7,500 points, like 7,500. Not over, not 1 point, not 1 point below. It was on the money. I was like, I guess I'm an athlete now.
Yeah.
So that was, I mean, things, I 100% agree with you. Things happen for a reason. There's plenty more examples like that. But in terms of the Australian thing, that year I went on to qualify and compete at US national championships. Following that, I actually made a US team and got to compete in, it's called the Thorpe Cup. It's essentially the US versus Germany in the multi-events. Absolutely fantastic experience. I got to wear USA on my chest, which is something that, to be quite honest, with the depth of talent in the United States, I never thought that I was actually going to be able to do.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
So even when I was in high school, when I first started like pursuing the decathlon, learning what this was, my dad's Australian, and I've always had this fascination. Yeah, so I've always had this fascination with Australia, and I always knew, like, at the very least, I wanted to do a semester abroad, study in Melbourne in Australia when I was in college. Athletics took over, never got the time to actually go do that because I was dedicated to sport. But the idea was, if I were to actually do this, then the plan was to compete for Australia. And when I made that US team, I am a dual citizen, so I didn't know any differently at the time. I thought, great, I'll compete for the US 1 year. The Commonwealth Games is next year. I'll go compete at the Commonwealth Games next year. And doesn't really work like that. As it turns out, you have to go through a whole formal legal process of a transfer of allegiance. Once you represent one country, you have to then go through like a 3-year waiting period where you can't represent anybody before you can transfer to another country. So a lot of dual citizens go through that process. There's been a few this year. It happens a lot in sprints and distance events. And so that kind of not put much of a hiatus on my career, but it kind of put a lull in there. It just kind of happened that the timing was right to where what would have been the 2020 Olympics before the world shut down, I would have been eligible to compete for Australia like literally 1 week before that. So the timing, I got lucky with there, even though I didn't know anything about it going into it. But it was just another one of those things. I moved to Australia in 2019. 2 years after I had that breakout and competed for the States, and I only went to Australia because my grandmother fell ill, and we had to square away some legal stuff and like do some work renovating a building and stuff in Australia. And I literally went to Australia with a suitcase, planning to be there for 2 weeks, and I just never came home.
Wow.
I had a pair of board shorts. I had all the spikes that I had gone because I had just competed. So I had my training gear, I had a pair of board shorts, and that's it. One suitcase, and I had a laptop. And I was planning to be there for 2 weeks. That got extended because we needed more time to complete the work. And 2 weeks turned into 2 months, turned into now we're 5 years, a wife, and a baby later.
Wow. Hey,
Oh
but it's all
man,
worked out, dude.
dude, all I could think about is it sounded like those memes where it says like so and so starter kit, and then it's got a couple of things where it's like the decathlete starter kit. It's like board shorts, a couple pairs of spikes, a laptop, and the
Yeah.
passport.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's pretty much
awesome.
it.
Wow,
Well,
Yeah.
dude, that's so cool. When so with the Olympics, do you know when the exact dates of the competition, so we can like tell people when to tune in and try to support you here on TV?
Yeah, absolutely. I will be competing the 2nd and 3rd of August. It's long couple days. It's roughly 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., I believe, both days. And most likely, I don't expect too much coverage of the multi events, both male or female. But there's going to be some coverage and some live results pages and things like that. And I'm sure my family will have some social stuff going as well. But to be honest, I'm just, my only focus right now is getting prepared and getting out there to go essentially enjoy the entire experience, because when I enjoy things, I tend to do better anyways.
yeah.
So I'm just trying to stay as relaxed and enjoy the entire experience and all the work that's led to this point. And really just have some fun, which is very exciting.
Well, dude, if you end up on a Australian Wheaties box, can we please get one that's signed? That would be so sick.
100%.
Oh, dude, awesome.
I'll see what I can do to get on a box, but yeah, 100%. If that one comes out, we'll be taking heaps of packets to bring home.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, that's awesome.
You said it right too. Enjoy, dude. Like enjoy every ounce and moment of this, because think about how long that you have worked hard and put in the time and the sacrifices that you made. And I just think it's awesome, man. I really do hope you have fun. And I am going to be rooting for USA, but I'm still going to root for one person from Australia, and that's going to be you.
Yeah, I was like the only non-US competitor.
That. Yeah, dude. I was like, we're going to be cheering for you. Speaking of which, dude, I want you guys to check out. Look at my guy. Look at my guy, dude. Look at the face, the joy, the determination, vascular, dude. Look at all the muscles.
Yeah, dude. How tall are you?
6'4".
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Hide your wife.
I am.
I just had to put a picture up, dude.
So
I don't know when that one was, but I was like, I got to throw a picture of this guy up, dude.
I remember that exact moment. That was Commonwealth Games 2022, Birmingham, UK. I had just cleared a critical bar in the pole vault, and it was stinking hot out. It was 90-something degrees, and I had an atrocious warm up, and that led on to another series that led to actually it led to a silver medal in the event. So
wow,
yeah, you can tell my excitement.
I can see your face. I'm like, something big happened there. I don't know what happened, but something big happened, dude. Well, hey, before we end, dude, so are you a believer just like your brother too?
Yes, I am. I think he's definitely gone down that pathway a lot stronger than what I have. I'm definitely more moderate, kind of, and have been. It's all coming full circle though. I've got on the books to get my daughter christened when I get home, and I'm actually awesome. In my wife's been taking her to church in Australia with a friend of hers as well. They've actually been quite enjoying themselves, and she actually just the other day asked me to get them a matching pair of crosses to wear on a necklace. So they're awesome. They're exploring themselves a little bit as well, which is it's an exciting thing to watch from the outside, and I'm actually really excited to get back into it.
That's cool, man. Everyone at their own pace. Yeah. I mean, everyone's going to have a different relationship with the Lord, and that's something I had to learn being a prodigal son, especially coming back from being away for so many years and just living a wild life. It ain't about like church, religion. It's just a relationship, dude. So you don't even stress. Like you said, it happens. It comes full circle, dude. And you'll see and recognize things. And you have a cool family, dude. Your brother has really touched my life. He's been he's been a friend, kind of like Jordan, through some of the toughest times, dude. But he kind of taught me to have a positive outlook. Like, dude, no matter what happens, it's gonna be okay, dude. God's good. I'm like, you sure about this, man? You know, and then years later, I'm like, dang, Doug, you were right. Like, everything's freaking dope, dude.
Yeah.
I'm going to be totally fine, you know? But, no, I just asked you because you're well-spoken, dude. You seem like a man of strong conviction, especially when you have discipline like that. And my goodness, you put a little faith behind that, dude. I mean, you're already unstoppable. Who's telling where it's going to take you, dude? You know? So it's pretty cool, man. And then your wife is Australian?
My wife's an Aussie, yeah.
Are you going to stay in Australia when all is said and done? Or are you going to come back to the States?
That is a mystery for everybody. It's I think at the moment a lot of people around me are asking that question. I love Australia. I love growing up in America.
Yeah.
I want the same experiences for my daughter that I had growing up, because I had and my parents provided an incredible childhood for me, and it's something we're still working through. It becomes a balance of work and life and family and everything else, and opportunity in itself. But that is a mystery that is yet to be confirmed.
It's all right, dude. Day at a time, baby.
Either way.
Yeah, day at a time, dude. Just a day at a time.
Yeah, man. Hey,
100%.
you got the Olympics coming up.
Yeah.
You worry about the long term, dude. You're on the short term route right now.
I'm going to Paris first.
Dude,
yes, sir.
Dude, it's just amazing, man. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast and just giving us time, dude. This is the first time we've done one across the globe. You're in France, right? We're over. So this is crazy, which is great.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, you're the first one, dude. So
yeah, fantastic. Well, I appreciate.
Oh, go ahead.
No. I say I appreciate being the test mule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's working out, man. It's working out. But dude, you're gonna do
very
great.
Smoothly.
Yeah, you're gonna do great, dude. Like I said, just enjoy it, man. You've worked so hard for all this, and just know, like, I'm gonna be praying for you, man. I want you to do well. And if it's you towards the end up against the USA, I might have to go for you, bro. Might have to go for you.
I tell you what, I know the US boys. I know the US boys very well. I'm friends with all of them, and they're a bunch of good dudes. But it's going to be a battle, that's for sure.
Oh, that's freaking dope, dude. Gosh, that's
dope, man. Just, thank you so much for talking with us, and dude, like, I think it's always so crazy. We've had so many opportunities to talk with like interesting people, and then just and especially like high levels of success. And I think that, especially when we're talking about that whole work-life balance and in pursuit and showing the backstory leading up to where you're at, you're only 30 years old and you've accomplished just so much in that tight window, right? Of like the last, you said 12 years, right? When you're 18, when you started, and now you're competing in the Olympics and you're representing a country. I mean, I'm biased because I wish it was the United States, but at the same time, either way, it's just a reflection of that pursuit of you being able to commit to something and grow your life really around it. You have a stable job. You said you worked with Shell, and then you have a new well, I don't know how long you've been married, but a new family. And you're still competing in the Olympics, dude. It's amazing. And what a great, not just a representative of a country, but just as a human. And I think that that people like yourself, you're inspirational to others, and it just shows that not only like you could stick with something, you can be successful in it. And I'm sure, and like Tim said earlier, it's like we only see the top portion of the mountain when you're there, right? Which is an amazing feat, but everyone knows you got to get there somehow, and it doesn't just come by chance, And I think that that's awesome to see, and I just truly appreciate you sharing, some of your life stories. And I don't know if I would hope that we maybe after the Olympics we could do a little follow up, talk about how the process was.
Absolutely.
That'd be so awesome to hear, and hopefully some fun stories, and hopefully with you got a medal around your neck too, because that would be super dope. And again, Wheaties box, send them.
Yeah, for sure.
Wheaties box.
No, I can't. I can't
Dan,
tell
I'm
you
go
guys
off
how
the
much
cuff
that
here
means to me.
before we leave.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say a quick prayer for you, dude. I think that prayer does help all things. I'm gonna do it real quick for you, all right, brother? All right, dear Lord, thank you for this time, and thank you for Dan. Please go before him in the Olympics. Keep him safe. Keep his family safe. Keep him strong. Keep him sharp. Be with him, Lord, and let all this hard work that he has done culminate into him being successful in these Olympics. Thank you for what you've done for him and for all of us. Amen.
Amen.
All right, baby. You're going to do good, baby. Let's go.
Let's ride.
Oh, Dan, thanks for coming on, man. We really appreciate it, dude.
No, you guys, thank you for having me. I appreciate everything you guys have said, and I appreciate your time. It's been a lot of fun, and I will do my absolute best to enjoy this and take it all in, and I look forward to talking to you guys again at some point.
Oh, it's gonna be dope. We will be watching, dude.
Yeah.
We will. I wish I had better
It'll be
contact
good.
with you, but just know I'm gonna be blowing up your Instagram DMs. Okay.
For sure. I always tell everybody, no matter how it goes, I'm going to put on a show. So, and get ready to enjoy.
Shorter shorts, okay? Shorter shorts.
Shorter shorts, you can go.
All right.
See you, Dan. Take care, dude.
See you guys. Thank you again.
Yep.
Bye.
Oh, man, he was a good dude.
Dude, rad guy.
Awesome. I love that. It's our first Olympian to come on the podcast. What a good time. This has been super dope, dude. I can't wait to follow up with him and see how he does. But anyways, good seeing you, buddy.
Hey,
thank you for your time,
too, man. Always a good time. Glad we got to do this again this morning. And dude, that was our first abroad
global
episode.
Global.
Yeah, is it safe to say we're global now?
We're global, yeah. Global downloads. We're recording globally now. Absolutely insane. Hey, let's go on 3, dude. We'll get out of here. Ready?
All right.
I'll let you count it off.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Let's go.
Let's go.
See you, dude. Bye, everybody.